In today's show, the Trailblazers snap a 6-game losing streak with an Anfernee Simons buzzer beater. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You are listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making the show your first listen, coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, we're talking about a Blazers victory, snapping a 6-game losing streak and beating the Denver Nuggets at the Moda Center 126-124 in a game that came down to the final shot. We'll recap that one. We'll talk about what went into the final little bits, and then we'll talk a bunch of other good stuff. I thought, Anfernee Simons is a game winner, but Sharpe was very good in this game. Denny Avdija was very good, although he probably didn't play enough. DeAndre Ayton returned and looked like a very helpful basketball player, and the Blazers won a game because their offense carried them. We'll talk about all of that in today's show, but first, let's start with how this was won. We'll do our fastest recap in the West, but a little bit differently this time. Blazers get the ball back with 16.8 seconds left. Nikola Jokic has just scored to tie the game at 124. The directive from Chauncey Billups is to take the final shot of the game. No matter what, don't leave these dudes with any time. Make sure that ball is on the rim at 0-0. You don't want to coming off. You don't want to give Nikola Jokic another opportunity. You do not want to mess with it. Take the final shot of the game. So he entrusts his point guard, Anfernee Simons, who has been pretty darn good to this point. It's 10 of 20 from the floor with 26 points to go with 10 assists. Says, Ant, I'm going to put the ball in your hands. If they come double team you, make the right read. If they don't, go win the game. Simons has been guarded by Russell Westbrook. The double team doesn't come. And as the clock ticks under 4 seconds, Ant attacks. Says, oh, for real, they're not going to double team me. I'm going to do what I do. Get to my right hand, shoot that little push shot that you love so much. And Russell Westbrook, right on his left hip, keeping him from getting all the way to the rim, all the way to the cylinder. But Anfernee Simons still gets where he wants to go, down towards the baseline, along the side of the lane, banks it in as the ball hits the glass. Buzzer sounds, ball goes in. Anfernee Simons sticks out his tongue. DeAndre Ayton gives him a big hug, and the Blazers celebrate 126-124. Heck of a game. Heck of a final play. Anfernee Simons shows a skill. He's a special floater guy. I've complained in the past maybe that I think those floaters are too hard, but he's like a steady diet of difficult shots. But he's good at them, particularly when he gets to that right hand, and he can jump off either foot and even take those wrong-footed righty floaters. That was a big bucket. A great game to win in a game, a game where the offense carried them, a game where Anfernee Simons and Sharpe are really good. Here's how they got there. Blazers led 35-30 after one and briefly had a 9-point lead in the second quarter and looked like, okay, they're really putting it on them. And then the Nuggets closed the first half on a 9-zip run, tie the game at 66. And you kind of think like, okay, the Nuggets messed around. I don't think Denver was very good in that first half, but the Blazers, put 66 on them. A 36-point second quarter followed by a freaking 30-point first quarter. It's like the Blazers were scoring, right? They were scoring with ease. DeAndre Ayton back returns to this game after missing a couple games with an illness. He's back in your starting lineup. The Blazers they're playing well and they're scoring points, and you think like, well, Denver's going to make their move, except they don't. The Blazers rip off a 38-point third quarter, a dominant third quarter in which they only turned the ball over one time and hit 6 3-pointers. If they're going to make shots and value possessions, the offense can be good. They're a high turnover team and they're a bad shooting team. When they do two things that they don't typically do well, you outperform most of your averages, and making 6 of 12 threes and turning the ball over just one time in the quarter is certainly outperforming their typical averages. They're one of the worst teams in the league turning the ball over. They're one of the worst shooting teams in the league. They drop a freaking 38 on the Nuggets. 38, and they go into the fourth quarter up 17. This is a ball game. It's like this one looks cooked, but Denver's going to make a push. I watched Denver's most recent victory prior to this when they had a charge to come back from, to come back and beat Sacramento late because they executed so dang well down the stretch. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. If it's Giannis Antetokounmpo who's the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic is too. At worst he's the second best player in the world. I think he's the best offensive player in the world, pretty obviously. With my apologies to Luka Doncic here, also very good. But if Jokic gets back on the court and it's going to be close to a game, then you might be in trouble, right? Because he can score, and in so many different ways, and he can get buckets for everybody else. He's an all-time great player, and when you give an all-time great player a window, he might just smash through it like the Kool-Aid Man. I guess Kool-Aid Man usually comes through the wall, but I guess if Kool-Aid Man looked in the window first, maybe the Kool-Aid Man analogy wasn't my best work. In any case, the Kool-Aid Man's coming back, but first the Denver Nuggets bench really ate into the lead. Blazers up 17 to start the fourth quarter. Both teams starting some bench units to begin that fourth quarter. The Blazers go with Scoot Henderson, Anfernee Simons, Denny Avdia, Donovan Clingan, and Rob Williams. So two bigs and Denny and Scoot along with Anfernee Simons to begin that fourth quarter. And the Nuggets, Russell Westbrook, Peyton Watson, Jamal Murray, DeAndre Jordan, and Hunter Tyson. Hunter Tyson hadn't played a single minute till the fourth quarter. And those dudes basically chew up the lead. The Denver Nuggets bench, led by Russell Westbrook and Jamal Murray, Murray and the bench. Westbrook closes the game ahead of Christian Brown, so whatever. But Murray and the bench also includes Peyton Watson, DeAndre Jordan, and Hunter Tyson. They chew into the lead. Basically, over the first 3.5 minutes, they cut a 17-point lead down to 6. And Chauncey Billups says, go get back. First of all, we need to get the bigs out of the game. This is a mess. We can't go too big. DA get back in there. Shaedon Sharpe get back in there. Tumani get back in there. We gotta fix this thing. And the Blazers do for the Nuggets bench gets it as close to as 3, but Portland responds and gets it back to 9. So when Jokic and the gang come back, Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon come back in to join Jamal Murray and Russell Westbrook, it's a 9-point game. And it's a 9-point game with about 7 minutes to go. Okay, game on. You're not up 17, you're not up double digits, but you were able to withstand a pretty gross start to the fourth quarter by the Blazers. And the Nuggets hang in there. The Blazers don't wilt, but the Nuggets hang in there. And with 1:24 seconds left, Jamal Murray hits a 3-pointer to cut it to tie the game. So the Blazers, they've now been leaning on this for a couple trips. And the second trip down, they let Anfernee Simons milk clock. They let him dribble. He again drives down the right-hand side, but a late double team and a really nice block from Russell Westbrook swats all of it. Anfernee Simons just basically swallowed whole like Geppetto. And the Nuggets get a run out, and Michael Porter Jr. gets a dunk. And now all of a sudden, the Nuggets, from down 17, have a 2-point lead with 59.8 seconds left. A minute to go in the game. Nuggets by 2. They were trailing by 17 11 minutes ago. And the Blazers have already blown a 17-point lead in this week in the fourth quarter when they were up 17 against the Spurs in the fourth quarter and immediately gave it all away. And it is feeling like that is going to happen again. But Anfernee Simons drives, gets contacted by Nikola Jokic. They call a foul. Ant hits 2. Tie ball game, 45 seconds left. Nuggets get it back. Blazers have responded. Nuggets get it back. Jamal Murray, after Nuggets kind of working around, and Jamal gets a matchup he likes, gets himself to the mid-range, maybe about 20 feet out from just above the foul line on the right-hand side, and takes one of those gonna drive, stop on a dime, spin back middies that Jamal Murray has taken so many times, and he just missed it. And a big crash from Aaron Gordon on the outside, gets an offensive rebound, beats Shaedon Sharpe to the ball, and gives up an offensive rebound. And Blazers give an offensive rebound. Ball swings back out and finds Aaron Gordon in the corner, wide open with a chance to take the lead. Wide open, unguarded in the left corner. After the scramble off the offensive rim, just missed it. And on that miss, Shaedon Sharpe goes to block out. He says, I'm not giving up another O board. And as he goes to block out, Nikola Jokic just shoves him. He just throws him to the ground. They call a loose ball foul. And because today's loose ball foul, it means free throw. Shaedon Sharpe goes to the free throw line with 24.3 seconds left, calmly hits them both. Shaedon's been money in this game, and he's money there to tie the game, to give the Blazers the lead. Nuggets call timeout. They get a matchup they like. Blazers go with the defensive lineup. They say, we'll put Denny Avdija in the game. Well, Denny Avdija is not going to be able to guard Nikola Jokic, and he wasn't. Obviously, you're not putting Denny in to guard Nikola Jokic. You're putting in your best defenders, and the Nuggets are going to, they're going to do what they do. They're going to work switches with Jokic, and then he'll attack. And if you double team, he'll punish you off the double team. And if you don't, he'll probably score, and he probably scores, and he scores on just happened to be Denny Avdija at that point. Pretty easy bucket, right-hand side at the rim, tie ball game, 16.8 seconds left. Blazers take a timeout and set up the final play for Anfernee Simons. Nuggets don't send a double team. Anfernee Simons makes him pay. The Blazers get to celebrate. The streamers fall from the ceilings, probably just one ceiling, from the ceiling. And the Blazers win. That's your fastest recap in the West. It only took 12 minutes. 126-124. A heck of a game. I want to talk Shaedon Sharpe. I want to talk Anfernee Simons in the second segment. We'll talk the other guys to close the show. Join me on the other side in that second segment because Shea and Ant were really good in this game, and they were really good together. The dynamic is starting to work a little bit, or if nothing else, the dynamic worked. That group was dynamic tonight. That duo was dynamic tonight. Let's talk more about it in the second segment. Join me there. First, though, I want to tell you that today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded prizes, awarded winnings, rather. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. And you can make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. And like I said, you can win up to 1,000 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks on Prize Picks. And you can join right now during this holiday season. Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Pixmas. It's Pixmas, baby! So download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win. You just need to play your first $5 lineup, and they'll give you $50 instantly to keep on playing. Prize Picks, run your game. Today's show is also brought to you by Rocket RX. If you're ready to boost your confidence and take control in the bedroom, Rocket RX has the solution. Imagine feeling more prepared and performing at your best. Rocket RX makes it simple and stress-free. Rocket RX offers FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower cost than branded alternatives. No more uncomfortable doctor visits or pharmacy trips. Everything is delivered straight to your door in discreet, plain packaging. With Rocket RX, you'll get trusted care from a real U.S. clinical team. Complete a quick 100% online consultation, and you could get your free prescription today. Visit rocketrx.com to get started now. It only takes 2 minutes. Right now, my listeners get 40% off your first order when you use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That's rocketrx.com. And the code is LOCKEDONNBA for 40% off your first order. Terms and conditions apply. Rocket RX. Better sex made simple. All right. Blazers win a fun one, snap a 6-game losing streak. You can lose forever, but there are some drawbacks to losing these games. I mentioned this when the Blazers did drop a 17-point lead to the Spurs and lost that game. It's like, that's just a game you want to win because you're going to lose enough into the future that like when you want to get these wins. And part of the reason I said you want to get these wins because I knew the Denver Nuggets were looming, and then the Spurs again, and then the Mavericks, and then the Jazz, and the Mavericks again. So it's like this is the season is unrelenting. The West is extremely difficult. The Blazers' schedule is very West heavy in this first half of the season, and here we are still in the first half of the season, very West heavy. So it's like when they lose that game to the Spurs on Friday, and they do blow a 17-point lead, basically gave it all away in about 6 minutes. Blazers gave away a 17-point lead in it took them 10 minutes to give away a 17-point lead in this game. But like when they drop that game to the Spurs, it's like, yeah, that's not good. Like you just need to win because you need some sort of validation that you are capable of executing and doing the right things, because you are going to lose games because of talent often. So when you lose games because you fail to execute in like winnable close games that are like that are coming down to final possessions, that's pretty frustrating, pretty deflating. It's tough for fans, right? Like I think if you're just like you're watching at home, like obviously I think there are a subset of fans and perhaps a large subset of fans that just like want the Blazers to lose. And I get it. I'm not trying to sway you any other way. Although I do think it's a little overblown that they've won too many games. I think if they finish with one of the 5 worst records in the league, they've done fine. Albeit like lottery luck will play out the way lottery luck does, and then it either will be totally fine or totally terrible, and you'll be mad. You'll be potentially very upset, even if they end up with one of the 3 worst records in the league, and lottery luck doesn't go their way. But like, it's tough as a fan, just because like watching it's you kind of get the little atrophied, just like, I don't know how to enjoy this basketball team. I've lost the ability to be invested. And tonight they gave you a reason to be invested. They played well. I thought this was one of their best offensive games of the season. They won this game because of possessions, right? Like this was the Blazers played pretty darn well, but it's not like they shot the lights out. They made 16 threes, but shot 35% from 3, 34.8. That's below league average from 3. It's the Nuggets made 15 threes. It's not like they were way up on the 3-point line. This was just like a shooting variance game. The variance here, the number you want to look at is field goal attempts. The Blazers took 97 and the Nuggets took 87. If you look at free throws, the Blazers were +3 in free throw attempts. So if you put those all together, that's 13 more shooting possessions than the Nuggets, and the Blazers win by 2. That's how they won the game. Portland only turned the ball over 10 times. They're a high turnover team. They didn't turn the ball over that many times. They won they had 15 offensive boards compared to just 8 for the Nuggets, +7 in the offensive glass. You give yourselves more opportunities. You give yourself a chance. The possession game. They won the possession games. They had an opportunity. They don't always do that, and they don't always shoot. Sometimes they shoot well below 35% from 3. So it's like this was a game I think they won with their offense, and they won by getting continuously good looks, but not just throwing the ball over the place. You're going to miss shots, but they didn't. I thought their offensive process was way better in this game than it's been in some games recently, and they were able to pull out a close win. Obviously, like every game that comes down to one shot is probably a toss-up. But all of the things you do to either put yourself in that position or to not put yourself in that position, they lead to the toss-up. Like the end result might be a coin flip, but the preceding 46 minutes is about process and how you do things. And I think the Blazers' process was pretty good in this game, and it starts with the 2 guards. Anfernee Simons finished with 28 points and 10 boards to go with just 3 turnovers. But one of those turnovers, he slipped on a wet spot and fell down in the paint. So, let's just call that a missed field goal. Say he shoots we will not generously give him extra points. We'll say he shoots and misses a layup there. So he, 11 of 21 from the floor if he takes that one. We're giving him a phantom field goal attempt. But 28 points, 10 assists, 2 turnovers plus a slip. That's a really good floor game from Ant. And Shaedon Sharpe, second on the team in field goal attempts, first on the team in free throw attempts. This is the Shaedon Sharpe we want to see. He finishes with 27 points, 6 boards, and 4 assists, and did not turn the ball over in his 28 minutes and 42 seconds on the court. I thought Sharpe was really darn good in this game. I thought he was aggressive when he needed to be aggressive. I thought, he still didn't shoot great from 3, 2 of 8 from 3, right? Like that might just be his plight, right? As it turns out, as we get to know Shaedon Sharpe a little bit better, maybe he's just not a very good shooter. But you can mitigate some of that by being smart. He goes 7 of 10 from 2. He takes the right type of 2s, and he's aggressive going to the rack. One of his buckets is just a putback bucket, crashes the offensive glass. One of his free throw attempts is just getting himself to the rim and getting going. In the final 4 minutes, he takes a step back 3 and another, or a 3 and then a step back mid-range jumper, kind of like knowing I'm a better mid-range shooter. If I'm going to take tougher step backs, let's get the right ones. Chauncey Billups talked before the game about we're telling him to be aggressive, but some of it is like the kind of shots he takes. It's like you're aggressive, but you're aggressive in the smart way. And I thought Shaedon Sharpe was really good. I thought he played off Anfernee Simons pretty well. They're still not this crazy dynamic, you go, I go, let's scare the other team the way we attack, kick, drive, swings, blah, blah, blah. But this was one of their better games. This was certainly one of their better games playing off one another. And this is, I don't know, I don't want to say this is it. This is it. This is what the future looks like. But they combined to go 20 of 38 from the floor. They combined to score 55 points with 14 assists and 3 turnovers between them. 55, 14 dimes, just 3 turnovers between them, shooting really well from the floor. A good night efficiently, a good night, overall, particularly from 2. They combined to go 6 of 17 from 3 because Shaedon Sharpe was just 2 of 8 from 3, and it was 4 of 11. And it was fine. Sharpe, we're talking he makes another 3. We're it's a pretty good shooting game. It sometimes is like that. This is what you hope to see. I mean, obviously, maybe some of you hope to see Shaedon Sharpe, or Scoot Henderson be the dude who has 28 and 10. He might not be capable of that. That just might be the truth. So for now, the Blazers move forward, and they you need Anfernee Simons to play well, whether he is part of the short-term, medium-term, or long-term future of the franchise. Seems like he's more of a medium-term type, depending on what you define medium as. But this, I think, was the game that was in some ways proof of concept. This is what they want to be. It's maybe not what they're always going to be, but this is what they want to be. And I asked Chauncey Billups after the game about whether this win was sort of, considering where they are and what they've done, and considering the loss they had to the Spurs and the 6-game losing streak and kind of where they are, if this game was a necessary proof of concept for guys. Because it's if we play the right way, we can do things. And Billups had a really interesting answer. I want to share that with you. Plus, I want to talk about Denny Avdia and DeAndre Ayton and some other good Blazer stuff. Join me in that third segment, and we'll close the show talking all about that. First, though, let's talk FanDuel, America's #1 sports book and an official sports book of the NFL. You want to tackle all of your NFL action right now? You want to get in on some wagers on Justin Herbert? Well, you missed it because he played on Thursday Night Football, but you got a whole bunch of football coming to you this week and a whole bunch of NFL action. And if you're watching those games and you have a hunch, well, FanDuel makes it easy for you to place live bets all in one place. And right now, new customers, when they're placing those live bets, can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. So if you are watching the game, you get a hunch, check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page on the app where you place your bets. Be an up-to-the-second informed wagerer. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond, and you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. So I asked Chauncey Billups if, in light of the losing streak and to play the game they played, if this was a necessary proof of concept. Because what he talked about is in a prior question, prior to when I asked him this question, is that he thought like on Sunday the Blazers played the Suns and played them pretty well. He said we had 30 assists in that game. We just we lost, and sometimes like you sometimes you are doing things the right way and you lose. And I mentioned on the show that it's like, well, I thought the Spurs game on the prior Friday, where they blew a big lead and had some questionable decisions in the final minute of the game, and just like kind of just like bad execution, bad coaching, coalesced to make a really tough and very end of the game. The team blew the lead, and then the coach made some funky decisions to make it even harder for them to win. Like I thought the game against the Suns, they just got out talented. Like the other team had more talent than them, and basically the Suns like built a little double-digit lead in like a 3-minute stretch in the fourth quarter, and the Blazers just couldn't get all the way back because the Suns are good and they've got Kevin friggin' Durant. I don't think the Suns game was that big of a deal, and that's what Billups kind of pointed to, and I thought his answer was really interesting. I asked him if this was a necessary proof of concept, like something that his team sort of needed considering where they've been, and he said, pointed to those things, and he said like, when a team wins, folks like in the media, he was kind of saying you, Mike, folks like in the media will point to the game that they won and say, this is where it changed. This is where it started. He says, but that's not how it works in the NBA, because the NBA is you chip away and you say like, we're not playing well right now. We're going to start playing a little bit better. And then one game you play a little bit better here, then you play a little bit better there, and then you start stacking things up. And particularly when you're a young team like the Blazers, who's just like, there's going to be nights when they're just straight up worse than the other team, and they're going to lose because the other team has more talented players. But if they play the right way, they'll put themselves in better position, is basically what Billups is saying. And I agree, they did play much better against Phoenix, and I think they just lost because the other team is more talented than them. But they started to sort of lay the foundation. Here's how we want to play. We want to share the ball a little bit more. We want to pass the ball, we want to trust the pass a little bit more and get it back, which is funny because the Blazers, like in the final 2 minutes, just straight up like called isolations for Anfernee Simons, like very specifically said like, don't pass the ball as much. We need to chill. But like, I think they did play the sort of like drive, kick, swing that they want to play, or at least attempted to for most of this game against Denver. And like as Billups said, it's like it is validating for the guys to see that get a win, and it is important for them to get a win and to be able to point to, hey, we played well, we beat a good team. The Nuggets are they're one of the good teams, maybe not one of the very, very good teams, but they're certainly like a playoff team and a team that could win a playoff series, etc., and maybe several. But like it is valid. Like Billups said, you stack good days and you stack good habits and you stack the trends, and then you get wins like this, and it's validating that playing the right way, trusting each other, and adding and building brick by brick. That's figuratively, not literally. I know the Blazers do shoot a lot of bricks, but that's also a figure of speech. So another type of figuratively, building that way is like why the validation comes, because you played well in some losses, you played the right way despite some losses, and then you trusted and didn't get bored with playing the right way, because he mentioned like sometimes they'll play the right way but then they'll miss shots and then they'll say like, okay, like we're cutting that off, we're not gonna screw the process, we're gonna sort of like shortcut this thing because we can't make shots, and you get kind of bored of trying to execute. And he mentioned the Blazers are like that, and I think there's some real truth to that. But they didn't get bored, and they played really well. And despite Nikola Jokic kind of like sleepwalking to 34 on 13 of 18 shooting, I thought Nikola Jokic was just cruising in that first half, finished with 34 and 8 dimes and was 13 of 18 from the floor. Dude's good. But the Blazers got good contributions up and down the roster. It wasn't just Ant and Shaedon Sharpe. Denny Avdia came in and he had a really nice first half and played well throughout the game. Finished with 19 points. It hit 3 of 6 threes. They ran a play for Denny Avdia to shoot a three-pointer. Not like an action to get Denny space. They ran a play designed to Scoot Henderson came across half court. He passed the ball to Jeremy Grant way out at half court. Scoot vacated to one corner. They set 2 screens in the opposite corner and Denny came off hot off those two screens, curling off screens from his teammates to shoot a three. Cash knocked it down in the second half, or early in the third quarter. Like they were going to him. It is a little weird that Denny Avdia like just doesn't play at the end of games when they're fully healthy. I kind of get like I kind of get it. Like I'm not. It's not like a mystery to me. Toumani Camara is a better defender as both a primary defensive presence and as a help defender. He's as an elite charge taker, charge grifter. And in theory, Jeremy Grant is a better shooter, and teams guard, just like you can just watch off the ball. Teams guard Jeremy Grant differently than they guard Denny Avdia, even though Denny made 3 of 6 threes and Jeremy Grant made 3 of 10 in this game. There's just a different way they get guarded. So I kind of understand it, right? They want the spacing that Jeremy Grant provides, and if you're just saying, okay, we want some defense, let's put in Toumani, and like you're gonna play Shea, you're gonna play Ant in these minutes. Like you're not gonna play super small against Jokic. You need a real center. You need DeAndre Ayton on the floor, who was good. I said I was going to mention him, but I'm probably going to run out of time here. DeAndre Ayton came back for his first game after missing a couple with an illness and had 15 and 13 in 34 minutes to go with 4 dimes. He threw a pass on a short pick and roll, a lob where he kind of halfway went up for a mid-range jumper and then threw an alley-oop on the backside to Toumani Camara. That was one of the best passes that DeAndre Ayton's ever thrown as a Trailblazer. It was a really nice one. But like on Denny real quick as we wrap up here. It's like I kind of get why he doesn't play at the end of games, but he was rolling in this game. He was playing really well, and then they just like went back after a stumble to begin the fourth quarter. They went back to say, okay, let's get the guys we kind of trust and know can like do what we want to do. And Denny was on the court during the early part of that fourth quarter when they gave the lead away a little bit. So like I get it, right? And if you look in those sort of like raw plus minus, and Denny was a negative on the court. I don't think single game plus minus is particularly meaningful, but like I kind of wish they could figure out a way to get Denny on the court in crunch time. They traded 2 first-round picks for him and a couple second-round picks and Malcolm Brogdon. They're invested in his future. I would love for Denny to be part of the present in close games, but that's like the challenge of the roster when it's healthy, is that Billups trusts Toumani and Jeremy Grant more, and Denny's going to be the guy who gets squeezed. That's the reality of it. The way this gets solved is the front office makes a trade in which Denny is then the de facto starting forward. They might not ever do that, so hold your breath at your own risk. But I was watching this game. I was like, Denny's sitting. Interesting. I thought he played well. I thought DA played well. I thought Shaedon Sharpe played very well. I thought Anfernee Simons played very well. And the Blazers got a win they really needed, because you can't lose forever just for the sake of like, these are humans going to work every day. And it's only December. They need to win. They lost 6 in a row and 10 of 12 prior to this one. I think it's okay. I think it's okay to make it now that they have lost 10 of 13. I think that's fine. They head on the road a little bit, San Antonio and then Dallas. Next time you hear a voice, we'll talk about that Spurs game. Let's do it 5 days a week wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Next week's Christmas. I'm not going to do 5 shows next week. I don't know when I'm going to do them exactly, but there's only going to be 4 next week. I would, if I had to guess, the way it works is that I will probably record a show on Christmas, but not on Christmas Eve. But we'll tune into the podcast next week, and I'll tell you what it's going to shake out like. I'll tell you everything you need to know. That's what we do 5 days a week, except when it's 4, because there's holidays. Everywhere you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Tell your friends about the program. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.